दिल ही Oh, Shanti. Sister Maureen, you are the best flower that Baba has. Best flower. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. The English expression.
Okay.
We're from England originally, aren't we, Sister Maureen? So I'd like to welcome you with these beautiful flowers, but they're not as beautiful as you are, but still token of our love for you with these flowers.
Oh, very sweet. They're gorgeous. I can smell them from here. Beautiful.
So nice to see you. So nice. I am honored.
Oh, I am honored. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
So at this moment in time, in silence, we'd like to support the translation team to make sure that it's working and everything is okay.
Probando, 1, 2, 3. Traducción.
Okay, the translation is good, everyone? Excellent.
सभी सुन रहे हैं? ठीक तरह से सुनाई दे रहा है?
Gosh, when I have to introduce you, I don't know, professional bio, heart bio, which way am I going to go? But
just
this is
simple. Simple.
Sister Maureen is the official program director for the Brahma Kumaris in UK, and is also representative at UN for United Nations for Vienna. And Sister Maureen, since 1991, for 20 years, she oversees all the UK prison service, which is amazing service when I talk about it, how prisoners are touched on the topic of spirituality in prison, which is something very beautiful. And she works with religious leaders, interfaith institution, and so many other places. She really goes out of her way to touch many, many souls. And currently she is preparing the Brahma Kumaris constitution for the COP26 in Glasgow. But she does so much. I mean, her bio is so long, so where to end, I don't know. But I have the fortune of knowing Sister Maureen for more than 40 years, maybe 42. I mean, I don't know, at least 40 years that I know of. I remember when I used to go to England when I was only 18, because that's where I took knowledge, you know. From Leicester, I would go to England, and I'm sure Sister Maureen remembers.
Leicester to London, you mean? Leicester to London.
Leicester to London. Leicester to London. And I remember Sister Maureen, we used to live in Tennyson Road. And then she would say, but Sister Emma, don't you want to surrender? She'll ask me this question every time, right? And I didn't think I was ready, because looking at London and the condition, which was very humbling in the beginning, just Tennyson Road. And I would just look at her face, and she would say, I would say, you know what? I'm surrendered from my heart. That's the answer I would give her. And I know that every time from here, I've gone to Global House and I saw Sister Maureen, her humility and her love touches me the most. She will see me from a distance, whether it's dining room or wherever, she'll come forward and hug me and give her a welcome. She says, oh, welcome.
Of course.
So she is very lovely, very sustains many souls. So I just want to say thank you for being you, and thank you for coming to us to read the Murli for us. So welcome.
Thank you. That's such a beautiful welcome. And, you know, it's amazing the connection that London has. So whenever you come for class or Murli in any part of the world, there's always those souls that you've had a strong connection with for a very long time. And so, yes, Emma and I go back a very, very long time. And those days in Tennyson Road, quite a few Kumaris surrendered, bit by bit, right? One by one, but everybody got there.
Yeah.
So lovely to be with all of you. And now remind me, I'm with California, West Coast. I'm with Vancouver,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mexico also.
Mexico also. Fantastic.
Say hello. Sister Elizabeth must say hello to you.
Oh, Elizabeth. Hi. Oh, Shanti. And I can see Judy there. And sorry, what's your name?
Nora.
Sorry?
Nora.
Nora. Oh, yes, I know Nora. Right. Beautiful. Hi. And Usha, but you're dark a little bit. Anyway, it would take, it's a lot, a big gallery. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hello to all the gallery. Okay, we'll go one by one. We'll be here for a long time. Kieran, hi. Okay, lovely to see everyone. Fantastic. Okay. To go back to this view. Yeah, lovely to be with you all. But in Vancouver, you've had a lot of flooding, right? Oh, you're muted, but is everyone okay?
Yes, we've had some flooding. Thank you, Maureen. By the way, lovely to have you with us. We're so delighted. It's so sweet. Yeah, so according to drama, there's been serious flooding, and it's really had a domino effect. Of course, so much property, so much damage, national emergency, probably the most serious they've ever seen in history, but it's having this interesting supply chain effect, because as you can imagine, routes, and we've got a port that gets things, but they can't get through because the routes are cut. So it's affecting the entire country to some degree because there's a supply chain cut. It's quite interesting drama. You know, Baba has said these things, but we can't imagine how they will unfold, but you see this domino effect. So it's not just massive loss of property, but this strange kind of domino thing going on with supply chains. So of course, the Vancouver family is absolutely fine. Abbotsford, where we do have some of Baba's children, that was deeply affected, completely evacuated. So we're hoping that they're all okay as well. But I think Baba's children are doing well and providing lots of subtle support. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. I know Baba looks after his children, that's for sure. And then they look after others in turn. I've seen that. But also, what was I going to say? Yeah, this morning, early morning, there was an earthquake in Mount Abu. And Madhuban shook. I mean, not sort of, it was 4 point something. I got a message actually late last night. So the elements are giving us signals everywhere. And anyway, more about that later, but I must inquire. Chandraben, how is she? Where is she? Is Chandraben with you? No, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Yeah, she's doing very well, Maureen Ben. Yeah, her soul is vibrant. She attends the classes and she reads Murli. But she's doing fine. She's stable.
Good,
Thank
good.
you for asking. Thank you.
Please give her my love, please.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so we want to hear Baba's Murli of today. And well, Baba is directing us to one Baba alone. And so the power that comes from that. So let's start. Today's Murli of the 20th of November. The essence, sweet children, give everyone the Father's introduction and have your give and take with the one Father alone. Only give the Father your true accounts. Question: what is the reason why, even now, some of you children continue to make many types of mistake? Answer, sure you can guess, or you've read the Murli. The main reason is that you are very weak in yoga. If you stayed in remembrance of the Father, you would never perform any wrong action. When you become trapped in name and form, you're not able to have yoga. Keep the concern to become pure from impure. Constantly stay in remembrance of Shiv Baba. You should not have physical love for one another. So spiritual love, no dependency in love. And the song, why would the flame not be ignited? Om Shanti. This is a song sung on the path of devotion. Eventually, all of these songs will be stopped because there is no need for them. It is remembered that you receive the inheritance from the Father in a second. You know that you receive the inheritance of liberation in life from the unlimited Father. Liberation in life means to be liberated from this land of sorrow and corruption. What will you become then? You have to explain the aim and objective very well for that. Baba explained to you last night that when anyone comes, first of all, give him the introduction of God, the highest on high. People ask you what the aim is. First of all, give the introduction of the unlimited Father. He now says, remember me and you will become pure. It is remembered, O purifier, come. Therefore, the Father must definitely be the authority. He must have received a part. You know, it's unusual to think of a part recorded in Baba's soul, but it is. It definitely is. He is said to be the highest on high Father. He only comes in Bharat. He comes and makes Bharat into the highest on high. He brings you the gift of paradise. Deities of the Sun dynasty who used to rule in the Golden Age are the highest on high in the human world. Only God, the highest on high, establishes heaven. He is called Heavenly God, the Father who establishes heaven. He is the Father, and so you cannot say of him that he is omnipresent. By saying that he is omnipresent, you lose the inheritance of the Father. Oh dear, so sorry, I'm going to switch it off. Oh. Okay, do not disturb now, apologies for that. Okay. These are such sweet matters. Father implies the inheritance. He would definitely give the inheritance to his children. The father of all the children is just the one. He comes and gives you the inheritance of peace and happiness and teaches you Raj Yoga. All the rest of the souls will settle their karmic accounts and return home. The old world is now to be destroyed. There is the Mahabharat war for that. You know, one is the Mahabharat war that will happen, as Baba says, but just seeing now what the elements are doing, quite incredible. They're really doing the task. The destruction of innumerable religions and the establishment of the one religion has to take place. The intellect also says that after the Iron Age, there must definitely be the Golden Age. The history of the deities repeats. It is remembered that he carries out establishment through Brahma. He enables you to claim the highest status. The Father says, children, become pure in this last birth. There is defeat for the land of death and victory for the land of immortality. All of you are Parvatis listening to the story of immortality. So you know the story of Parvati on the mountaintop listening to the story. So Parvati, the consort of Shiva. Both sons and daughters will become immortal. You can call this the story of immortality or the story of the third eye. Generally, it is women who listen to those stories. Would there not be any men in the land of immortality? There would be both. So, of course, especially in the, even now, actually, you know, more women come to spiritual gatherings, but can imagine in Baba's time, it was the husbands were away and the sisters used to come, so more women. Only the Father explains to you what the scriptures of the path of devotion say and what the Father says. It is said that God comes to give the fruit of devotion. So the fruit of devotion is knowledge, the fruit of knowledge is Satyug. The deities truly did rule the world in the Golden Age. Who gave them the fruit? None of the sages or sannyasis can give it. You know that not everyone performs devotion to the same extent. Those who do a lot of devotion will definitely receive the fruit of that accordingly. Those who are worthy of worship become worshippers and then become worthy of worship. They receive the fruit of their devotion. I remember asking Daddy about this, you know, that, well, surely everybody did devotion from the Copper Age, all the deity souls. So, you know, why is it number-wise fruit? Baba says those who've done the most devotion. And she said it's the quality and depth and sincerity of devotion. And so you think about when Daddy speaks about her time of bhakti, the dedication, the love, the sincerity. So it's really the quality of devotion. All of these matters have to be explained. First of all, explain the picture of the Trimurti. Don't take them to the picture of the ladder first. Those are details. First of all, give the Father's introduction. He is the highest on high. Then give the introduction of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar, and then that of Lakshmi and Narayan. So especially in the context of Hindu bhakti, you know, the Shankar, well, Shiv Shankar, Vishnu considered very elevated gods. So I was saying, take it step by step. There are many pictures on the path of devotion. First of all, tell them that you are claiming your unlimited inheritance of heaven from the unlimited Father. God, the highest on high, also gives the elevated inheritance. So it's unlimited and it's elevated. The birthday of Shiva is celebrated in Bharat, and so Heavenly God the Father must definitely have come and established heaven. Only the Father establishes heaven, and then after 5,000 years, it becomes hell. Rama, Shiv Baba, has to come, and so even Ravan has to come at the right time. Can't we change his part? It would be nice. Rama gives the inheritance, whereas Ravan gives a curse. Knowledge, that is, the day comes to an end and the night begins. During the day, there are just those of the sun and moon dynasties. It is very easy to explain these things in a nutshell. First of all, give them the introduction of the highest on high Father and make it firm for them. This is the main thing. The deity dynasty existed in the Golden Age. They were Sato Pradhan, and then it went through the stages of Sato, Rajo, and Tamo. This is the cycle. It cannot be the same period all the time. Law of nature. You children should keep it in your intellects that you have to remember the highest on high Father. Many are weak in this remembrance. Baba also shares his own experience of how he repeatedly forgets to have remembrance because he has many other thoughts, and this is why it is said, how can those who have so many responsibilities stay in remembrance? So Baba being very humble here. Baba has so many concerns throughout the day, and so many things come in front of him. Baba has greater pleasure in waking up early in the morning and sitting in remembrance at that time. He also has the intoxication that after establishment, he will once again become the emperor of the world. Baba's intoxication. Baba tells you from his own experience that the first and foremost thing is the Father's introduction. When anyone tells you anything else, tell him that there is no benefit in that. We are giving you the introduction of the highest on high Father. Only he gives the highest on high inheritance of becoming the masters of the world. The Arya Samajis do not believe in the pictures of the deities. So this is like a reform movement within Hinduism. When they see you with the pictures, they get upset. This is where you would have heard reference in the Murli. Baba says, you know, how the exhibition was set on fire and you should ensure everything. So that's Arya Samaj at that time, the opposition that they were giving. Now there's a lot of respect, but at that time they felt like, I don't know what they felt really, because maybe they felt we weren't proper Hindus, not doing one, not doing the other. I don't know, but they were upset with us. I know that. Those who want to claim their inheritance will come and listen to you peacefully. The one main thing is God, the highest on high. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar are not called the highest on high. Only from the highest on high Father is the inheritance received. Only he is the purifier. Make these things firm. God is one. Father implies the inheritance. He comes in Bharat to give you your inheritance. The new world is established through Brahma, and then the old world is destroyed through Shankar. The gates to heaven open through the Mahabharat war, and you become pure from impure. So everything happens together. The war, the purification of the elements, but most importantly, the purification of Baba's children, and then the gates open. Bharat is receiving an inheritance from the unlimited Father. There is nothing except this one thing. The Father says, remember me, and the alloy in you will be removed. Only when those people have understood this one thing should you explain anything else. You know, if they can't recognize, and especially if they don't have an awareness of the soul or recognize that, the cycle doesn't make any sense, very difficult. All of these pictures are details. We just tell them to drink the nectar of knowledge and become pure, and they say that they want poison. There is also a picture based on this, and this is why it is said, why should we renounce nectar and drink poison? Only the spiritual Father gives this spiritual knowledge. How could the Father be omnipresent? If you want to, you can believe that the Father is omnipresent, but we no longer believe that. So respectively say, you can believe it, we don't. We used to believe that previously. The Father has now told us that that was a mistake. You receive the inheritance from the Father. Bharat is now hell, and we are once again making it into heaven, that is, into a pure household ashram. The original eternal deity religion was a pure household ashram. So no worship in that world. Many years ago, they found remnants of a civilization off the coast of India, the East Coast, I think. And they were very puzzled because the two things that you always see in a civilization in ruins is a place for defense and a place for worship. And there were neither of these things. So in the Golden Age, no worship. Also, nobody's going to attack you, so no army, no fortress, nothing. So a pure household ashram, so it means there isn't like a separate place that's an ashram, it's living in, living in life. Pure household ashram. It is now the impure, vicious world. The Father says, remember me. Shiv Baba is the highest on high, the creator, and you receive the inheritance from him. There are now so many people in the Iron Age, whereas there will be very few people in the Golden Age. At that time, all the rest will be in the land of peace. So surely only when the war begins will the rest go into liberation. Let all of these things remain in the intellects of you children. You children should definitely do service. Only by doing service will you receive a status. Not that you forget Shiv Baba or stop doing service, or stop doing Shiv Baba's service because you're not able to get on with one another. In that case, your status would be destroyed. then instead of doing service, there would be disservice. There is nothing worse than leaving service just because you have become like salt water with one another. So where situations become intolerable, Baba's saying, more dharna, more dharna. Not an easy one, but remember Baba and you will be able to earn an income. You have now received the knowledge for becoming holy and remembering the Father. Turiya, which is before holy. Holy is when they burn the chapati and the thread and everything. But Duriya is actually the playing of the colors. Duriya is a splendor of knowledge. It is said, Gyan and Vigyan. Vigyan is yoga, beyond Gyan, Vigyan. And Gyan, knowledge, is the world cycle. People don't understand anything about holy or Duriya. Remember the Father and tell this knowledge to everyone. Baba repeatedly explains to you, the highest on high Father cannot be called omnipresent. Who else are you remembering then? You know, yesterday Baba said, those in other religions, if they remember Baba, they can get a high status in their own religion. So I asked Gentiban, what does it mean, remember Baba? It means they have some recognition. And she said, yes. Otherwise, they'll just be remembering omnipresence or some amorphous form. But those who actually understand Baba's introduction, they may not accept the rest of Gyan, but they understand Baba's introduction and they remember Baba on that basis. And then they claim a high status within their religion. The Father says, constantly remember me. However, if you don't know the Creator, what would you receive? Because of not knowing him, people say that he is omnipresent. Therefore, prove that he is the highest on high, so that the idea of omnipresence is removed from their intellects. We are all brothers. The Father comes every 5,000 years and gives us the inheritance. There will be deities in the golden age, and all the rest will go into liberation. Continue to give everyone the Father's introduction. People pray to Christ. Tell them that Christ is not everyone's Father. Although they do believe that in Christianity, this idea of inclusivity, that even if people don't know, they still are children of Christ. So interesting parallels there. Everyone's Father is the incorporeal one to whom souls call out, O God the Father. Christ is remembered as his Son. How can the inheritance be received from the Son? Sorry. Christ is the creation. It is not written in any scripture that souls will become Sattvapratan from Tamapratan by remembering Christ. Only in the Gita is it written, constantly remember me alone. The scripture of God the Father is the Gita. They have simply removed the Father's name and put Krishna's name. They have made this mistake. The Father is the highest on high He alone gives the inheritance of peace and happiness. All of you should keep a picture of Shiva with you. The Father gives this inheritance, and then we lose it over 84 births. Explain the picture of the ladder. Only the purified Father comes and shows us the way to become pure. People say God, Krishna speaks. You say God, Shiva speaks. The highest Father resides on the first floor. Then there is the subtle region on the second floor. So Baba taking first floor to be Paramdham, subtle region on the second floor. This is the third floor. This here is the world. And then you go to the subtle region. The tribunal sits there and punishment is received. Punishment is experienced and you then return home up above. Hopefully very little. Remember somebody at the beginning of Gyan telling me, when I go through the subtle regions, I just want to wave to Dharamraj. Don't want to come any closer. The Father takes all the children back. It is now the confluence age. You have to allow up to 100 years. Children ask Baba, Baba, what will there be in heaven? Baba says, children, you will see that as you progress further. First of all, recognize the Father and maintain the concern of becoming pure from impure. Whatever is to happen in heaven will continue to happen. Become so pure that you receive the full inheritance of the new world from the Father. Whatever happens in the middle, that too can be seen as you progress further. So, we want to maintain that inheritance through 3/4 of the cycle, right? All of these things should be remembered. Because of not remembering them, you are unable to understand them at the right time. You forget them. Children have to perform good actions. By staying in remembrance of the Father, you won't perform any bad actions. Many perform very bad actions. It shouldn't be that you like all the things that only a particular teacher teaches, so that if that teacher goes away, you are finished. Some die because of their teacher. It means they are dead to claiming the Father's inheritance. That too is said to be misfortune. Many children get trapped in the name and form of one another and die. So that's a good warning from Baba. No matter how good a teacher somebody is, that's fine, take sustenance, but remain free. Here, there shouldn't be any physical love. Constantly remember Shiv Baba. I was asking myself, physical love, and again, I think it's love that creates that dependency, doesn't free us. So physical love, it's not just about physical contact, but it's a mental thing as well. Constantly remember Shiv Baba. Your give and take should not be with anyone else. Tell them, why are you giving me this? Your yoga is with Shiv Baba. Those who don't give directly to Shiv Baba do not accumulate anything. There's a whole interesting passage of the consciousness with which we give. Establishment takes place through Brahma, And so everything should be done through him. If someone in between uses what you have given, the himself or herself, then that is not accumulated with Shiv Baba. So they may be using it for service, but if it's for their personal status or, not accumulated with Shiv Baba. If you want to give to Shiv Baba, give it through Brahma. Open centers through Brahma. If someone opens a center by himself without permission, that is not a center. Baba very direct. Bap and Dada are combined. When this one is given something in his hands, it means it is given to Shiv Baba. There are so many centers that don't give their news to Baba at all. You should write, Shiv Baba, these are the accounts of your center. The master should receive the accounts. Many do not accumulate with Shiv Baba. They don't have that wisdom. Although they have a lot of knowledge and that person opened a center. Sorry, just a second. Yeah, although they have a lot of knowledge and that person, oh, sorry, I'm misreading. So if they don't have any wisdom, you don't accumulate with Baba. Although they have a lot of knowledge, they don't know this method. They're happy with having opened a center. If you give to someone and that person opened a center, Shiv Baba didn't open that center. It's not through the right method. That center will not flourish. If you want to open a center, it has to be through Shiv Baba. Shiv Baba, I'm giving this. Use it for a center. Children make many mistakes and are very weak in yoga. Acha. To the sweetest beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say namaste to the spiritual father. Sure, you're all saying it, even though I can't hear you. And the essence for imbibing number 1. Along with studying knowledge, also learn the way to make your future. Claim your inheritance from the one Father. Don't become unfortunate because of any bodily being. Number 2, don't stop doing service because something happens between yourself and another person. Wake up early in the morning and talk to yourself. Make effort to remember the Father. Baba's giving all the methods. And the blessing. May you become an embodiment of experience and confront or face Maya's power with your willpower. Your most powerful stage is based on your own experience. An experienced soul with his willpower of experience can easily confront any of Maya's powers, all situations, and all problems, and can also make all other souls content. Very big task, isn't it? Making everyone content. So experience every treasure and become an embodiment of experience. And the slogan, instead of looking at others, look at yourself and transform yourself. Instead of looking at others, look at yourself and transform yourself. Om Shanti. Just put some light on, a little dark now.
She's so in. Very humble.
So Baba very clear. You know, the way Baba explains karma philosophy is very powerful. On the one hand, Baba explains the power of karma philosophy by looking at our subtle thoughts and attitudes. And we know that whereas in the Sakam release, Baba would say, well, okay, as long as you may think something, but don't put it into action. But then the Avyat release, Baba's been very clear that, you know, even to think something becomes a karma. So, and then the other aspect is, of course, doing things with the right method within the yajna. And so that's the other aspect. So I may, but of course the two are connected, because if my, you know, if my attitude is right, if my intellect is working on the basis of knowledge, then I will do everything according to the right method, because my conscience, my deeper understanding, my intellect will guide me in the right way. But if, you know, it's very interesting that so often, well, not so often, now and then, when people say that they find it difficult to have yoga with Shiv Baba, they find yoga difficult. And they feel yoga's a little bit dry, they experience peace, they don't experience Baba's love. But then when you talk to them in more detail, it's usually that they don't have a connection with Brahma Baba. So how today in the Murli, Baba explaining so clearly that Brahma Baba is our gateway for everything. For yoga, for liberation in life, and anything that we want to do. Okay, Brahma Baba isn't here in the physical form, so now most of the daddies are not here, so there are instruments, and I think it's amazing that the two now additional heads, really heads actually, are living outside of India. That's really something very interesting. That's all I can say. And so Mohini Ben, Genti Ben, and they're working very closely together, of course, which is beautiful. But everything the right method, because you know, even little things. Particular thing I'm dealing with, and I saw that somebody had written an email to several people about this issue. And I said to Genti Ben, it's very interesting, because it's quite an important issue, and I would not have written that email to those people without showing Genti Ben first, you know, getting those blessings or getting that correction or whatever. And here another person would just go straight ahead and do it. So it's, you know, Baba's showing us the right method for our safety, for our protection. So then later on, you know, we also have that support as well. So very interesting on karma philosophy today, but also came back from COP26 on Saturday, so just a week ago. Feels like a long time, yet it doesn't feel like a long time, because it's very fresh somehow. And it's my first COP, because you know, it's because it was in the UK. I've been to one or two climate change conferences, but not to COP itself. And because it was in you know, UK and especially in Glasgow, of course, I was very involved in getting all the arrangements together and huge logistics because we were staying about an hour outside of Glasgow. So, and there's not many Brahmins in Scotland. So we had to bring the cooks, we had to bring the transport, goods, everything. Anyway, but it was brilliant. Everybody cooperated, really beautiful. But being there, you just really, for me, it was just an education to underline what's happening on the world stage. And at one point I felt, you know, somehow Baba he's pulling strings here and there, you know. At one point I became aware of a bigger picture and a bigger plan. You know, we're doing what we're doing in terms of the programs and the press conferences and the dialogues and everything. But you need to keep tuning into the higher plan that Baba has and how what you're doing is serving that higher plan. And I found that very beautiful because it helped me then to go above, you know, all the frustrations that you can feel, because the one thing I would say is that, you know, everything's on a precipice. Global warming, everything, you all know the news. But I have to say, governments around the world don't care. They really don't care. And so they're not making the changes that are necessary to limit the rise in sea level, to limit the temperature. And in one place I put on these, you know, these 3D goggles, and they take you somewhere that you feel like you're really in it. And this was in one of the small islands. And, you know, the children going to school with their legs like nearly knee deep in water. And, you know, it's just like, just see it. And they don't have money to build concrete platforms. Now, something so basic. And the Prime Minister of Barbados, she really berated the governments, and she said, you know, 100 billion was promised for loss and damage. So islands, how to help them, and, you know, through what they've lost, and to rebuild their infrastructure. And it's 20 billion short. And then she said, suddenly, for COVID, there were all these trillions of dollars available. Where is the finance for climate? And it was very interesting. I was with a group last night. We had a very interesting event. It was actually organized by somebody from the University of East Anglia, who's a colleague of Carolyn, and Carolyn happens to is still here this week. And you know, what was coming out was that, you know, really it suits the governments to keep people poor and hungry. That's the bottom line. And it's very sad. It's very sad. Everything could be so different. People are suffering. We know it's Kali Yuga. We know this is how the end has to happen. But there's really something very strange going on. And of course, at the last minute, India and China decided to get together, which is unusual. And instead, they didn't want to say phase out coal, they say phase down. So what's their intention? So it was really, you can see how everything's moving towards that point where there's just going to be total upheaval. And now, at least people are not saying, shall we limit it to 1.5, but they're saying, how do we do this? So it's like a given that you have to do it. They're not questioning anymore how. So that's also very interesting. So it really is quite a critical moment in terms of the world. And well, I just feel, of course, Baba's children played a great part, whether it was on panels, whether it was, you know, in a dialogue space, or, you know, lots of good opportunities. but we're putting in there another energy, another vibration. And if you think about the world stage, there's a very dark, a very negative vibration at the moment. And what do Baba's children have to do? We have to keep putting in the light vibration, connecting people with their inner goodness, reminding people of the light. And that way, that's real service at this point in time. So just a few thoughts there. I know we have limited time. I don't know if anybody has any questions or further comments, but also very interesting, the whole idea of confronting Maya with your willpower. So willpower, very, very important. And willpower is connected with faith, is connected with determination. So if I have the willpower to do something, and of course we want to do something in terms of our own internal effort and what will serve the world, then I have to have such determination that I can't see any other possibility. This is going to happen. So then, complete faith in Baba, drama, it has to work. So, anything else? Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we can meditate with you, sister.
Sure, yeah.
We'll share a little news from Vancouver. So first we'll meditate with you. Okay, thank you, sister.
Om Shanti, Sister Maureen. Thank you for asking about Vancouver. The whole family. The whole family is doing okay. Everyone is doing okay. Even Absterford, that was the very bad part because that divide BC, British Columbia to the other part of Canada. But the family, nothing happened to the family. They are on the other side where the things, nothing happened. So they are going into the life the same way, nothing happened. Interesting is because we have been training for the big earthquake that they say may happen in British Columbia. And we were planning to use that road to go out of British Columbia. That's the road that was damaged. But now the government is going to fix that road, make it more safe. So it's another thing also is no food, no gas can come this way. So this was a rehearsal for us to see how we have to be. And I was talking to Sister Taran, who lives in Absterford. She has been training us because she works with the fire department. She has been training us for the earthquake, the big one they call. And then she said, it's time for the family to do another rehearsal again, check that everybody has everything in home and cars are packed with things because we can be anywhere. So this is a very good preparation. Baba is preparing us. Yeah, thank you for.
Thank you, because in British Columbia had the horrific fires.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah, I think the nature here is preparing us for something.
Yeah. But Baba's looking after his children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
You can meditate now. Thank you.
सामने हो ना हो मेरे दिल के बाबा पास हो मेरे संग संग रहते सदा देते ये एहसास हो आँखों के सामने हो ना हो मेरे दिल के बाबा पास हो सामने युग युग के बिछड़े मिले जैसे हम ना थे जुदा हर कल्प में हम मिलते रहे जन्मों के हैं साथी सदा मेरी धरती हो आकाश हो मन के तुम विश्वास हो आँखों के सामने हो ना हो मेरे दिल के बाबा पास हो मेरे संग संग रहते सदा देते ये एहसास हो आँखों के सामने हो ना हो
Om Shanti.
Shanti. Thank you so much.
Lovely, sweet, humble Sister Maureen, ever ready Sister Maureen. So from our hearts, we want to thank you. And at the same time, we'd like to acknowledge all the centers that are present from Vancouver to Seattle, to Eugene, to San Francisco, to Anubhuti, to Hawaii, to Calgary, to Tilvana, everybody's present. So all are saying thank you from their heart for giving us your precious time, because I know from my side that your schedule is busy. So from heart to heart, from all of us, thank you to you. Thank you, sister.
Thank you for the opportunity, and love to everyone from all the family here.
Thank you, sister.
Shanti.
Thank you.
Everybody wave.
Everybody wave.
Ah.
Everybody wave.
And so now, so for our next program, you may like to refer to your schedule, or you may check on the portal for the next schedule, next program. Okay. And after this, we have the fortune of traveling to Peace Village, where the angels awaken. Wonderful time for us to experience awakening early in the morning in Peace Village. Om Shanti. Just put